I'm sure we all remember a year ago, other colleagues of yours stood here and said inflation was transitory and was not going to last and was certainly not going to go up to where we are now. Do you think it's possible in a couple of months you might regret standing here and saying we're not about to be in a recession?
Well, I want to be very clear what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that based on consumer spending, based on payroll employment, based on where the unemployment rate is, I think we can confidently say that these numbers that we're posting are very much inconsistent with a recessionary call given where we are right now. I think that is the most accurate way to assess the answer to that question. When it comes to transitory, I think the answer there is that we were careful when we were talking about that to consistently reference the forecasts that were out there, the view on inflation's trajectory by not only pretty much every forecaster we could find, but of course the Federal Reserve as well. And so this was a period where we hadn't seen new variants of the virus, where the war in Ukraine, of course, was not yet a reality. So I think that if you look at the general trajectory of where the forecasts were pointing in there, that was generally the way in which we tried to talk about that. And I think that's worth going back and seeing.
Thank you. Following up on Jeff's question about transitory inflation, I'm curious what made the White House realize that the phrase was inaccurate and also politically problematic?
I think it has to do with the, I'm going to use economics, or the periodicity, which is, see, this is why you do a better job than I do. I think it has to do with the ambiguity about the length of that word. Is what it has to do with. I think it has to do with the ambiguity about the length of that word. Some people hear transitory and they're going to think weeks and months. Others hear transitory, particularly probably economists who are used to the broader ups and downs of cycles and think longer periods. And I think the lack of specificity about the cadence that was implied by that word, the temporal cadence implied by that word, led to a level of ambiguity that wasn't serving the debate very well.
What about just the second part about politically problematic? Was that something you were hearing from voters, seeing show up in polls, that language was hurting the president and voters?
I think that when it comes to politically problematic, you've heard the president say in recent days that this that inflation is unacceptably high, and that bringing it down is his absolute #1 domestic priority. And I think that is all you need to know in terms of what he is dispatching his economics team to do in that front.
Tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary of President Biden insisting that high prices and inflation, in the president's words, were expected to be temporary. A lot of my colleagues have asked similar questions, but I'm wondering how much faith can the American public put in future White House assessments about the economy, about inflation, after they saw that inflation number increase month after month and before the Russian invasion?
Well, let me say two things. First of all, I tried to answer as fulsomely as I could some of that part of that question earlier. But let me ask you to focus on what we're trying to talk about today, which is something that is happening in the here and now. The chart's not up, but that first chart, which we can certainly make available to you, that shows we're not talking about looking around any corner here. We're talking about what has happened in the past 34 days to prices at the pump. They've fallen 50 cents, and you heard me go through some of the numbers in terms of the relief for American drivers. At the same time, we are not stopping there, okay? This is nothing close to a victory lap, because we have much more to do to achieve the president's agenda of helping families get some breathing room in this tough environment, which is characterized by, of course, such highly elevated prices. Now, if you can help people with prescription drugs that cost 2 to 3 times less in other countries for the same pill, if you can help a 60-year-old couple with a $45,000 income not have to pay another $1,900 to get their insurance coverage, you are accomplishing the president's goals. Now, to do that, we need Congress to align and work with us. And Democrats, many Democrats are there when it comes to prescription drugs. This is something that President Trump said he wanted to achieve. And You know, he didn't get there. This president is pushing hard to achieve that goal.